One of my heroes is Pope John Paul II. He, of course, has been canonized a saint for many good reasons. Interestingly, in his life, at an early age, he lost his mother. And after she died, he very much felt alone and abandoned, having lost one of the most important persons in his life, his mother. He recounts how, Pope John Paul II recounted how, after his mother died, he turned to Mary, the Mother of God. And he said that he told Mary, the Mother of God, that since he no longer had an earthly mother, that he, in a very definite way, was asking her, as his heavenly mother, to exercise her motherly care over him for the rest of his life. And so she did. One of the most clear signs of Mary's protection of John Paul II in his life was on the date of May 13th, 1981, when in St. Peter's Square in the Vatican, a would-be assassin stepped forward and shot him twice. Pope John Paul was rushed to the hospital. One bullet went through his wrist, but the other one came within just a millimeter of severing one of his most important arteries. And I remember reading somewhere that when the doctor looked at the trajectory of the bullet was going straight for this artery. It might have been the heart, I'm not sure. But there took a dramatic twist as it came very close to that artery. It was as if someone diverted the bullet. Pope John Paul, after his recovery, went to Fatima. And there at Fatima, he offered a prayer thanking Mary for having prayed for him and having saved his life by diverting that bullet from killing him. And he placed the bullet, in fact, in the crown of Mary's statue there in Fatima, Portugal. The day on which Pope John Paul could have lost his life when the assassin shot him, it was the feast day of Our Lady of Fatima. The feast day of Our Lady of Fatima is May 13th, and that was yesterday, and Pope Francis was there commemorating the 100th anniversary of Mary's apparitions there in Fatima. In 1917, the Blessed Mother appeared to 3 young children in Fatima. It had an important message that she wanted conveyed to the world. And in 1917, the world was very much steeped in the bloodshed of World War I. The world was coming apart at the seams because of World War I. And Mary came to the children of Fatima and said to the children, I want you to pass a message to the world. Tell the world to do penance, to turn their hearts to God, and to pray for peace, and in particular, to pray the rosary every day. That message has been conveyed over the past 100 years. And Mary very much is interested, as she was in 1917, in bringing peace to the hearts of each individual. But like Pope John Paul II, we have to be willing to accept her and her motherly care that she offers us, because she doesn't force herself on us. She's available to be our special patroness in heaven, to exercise her motherly care over each of us, but we have to accept it. And one of the ways of accepting that is by doing what she asked us to do, and that is to pray the rosary every single day. You might say, pray the rosary every single day? Yes. Pope John Paul II said the rosary every day. Pope Francis says the rosary every day. Many saints have said the rosary every day. What does the rosary do? It acknowledges that we are taking Mary as our special patroness, to care for us as a heavenly mother. Just like our earthly mother cares for us, she cares for us even more if we let her. And she takes us to Jesus. She's not God, she's the Mother of God. And her role in life and in eternity is to bring us to the feet of Jesus. Remember when Jesus was crucified on Mount Calvary, there below the cross was Mary, the mother of God, and the disciple St. John. And Jesus said to John, "John, here is your mother." And John represents all of us as disciples of Christ. There on the cross, Jesus looks at each of us and says, "Here is your mother. Here's your mother." And then he said to Mary, "Mother," pointing to John, "here is your son." And so on the cross, Jesus looked at Mary and looked at all of us and said to Mary, "Here are your children." And to us, "Here is your mother." Beautiful invitation on the 100th anniversary of the apparitions of Mary and Fatima to draw close to Christ by asking Mary to pray for us in the many ways in which we need peace. We're not at war at the moment, and yet we are. The world is at war to some degree or another. The world is teetering on the brink of another world war, unfortunately, it seems to me. But individual people there's no peace in the hearts of some people. There are many people that have war within their hearts, within their souls. And some of us sometimes have a war going on in our hearts. A war between good and evil, between God and godlessness, between dark and light. We all have a war, a tug of war going on within us. God trying to pull us one way, and the evil Satan trying to pull us another way. And Mary stands beside us to encourage us to pull in the direction of Christ. In the gospel, we hear the words, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Have faith in God, have faith also in me." Faith is the pathway to peace. When we recognize we need peace in our hearts, that we need peace in our homes, look what's happening to family life and society today. As the family goes, so goes society, and society's in trouble because the family's in trouble. When the very nature of family is under attack, so is civilization under attack. When we are confused about the identity of male and female and allow people to choose whatever they want between those genders, we're at war with God. Because it's God who creates male, and it's God who creates female. Our job is not to create our gender. Our job is to embrace the gender with which God has created us. Madness, war within our hearts, within our minds. Mary stands with us, inviting civilization to turn once again toward God and to embrace His will and His peace into our personal hearts, into the hearts of our homes and our families, and in society as a whole. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Have faith in God, Jesus tells us today. Pope Francis yesterday said, "We are not orphans. We are not orphans." Through Mary, the Pope said, we can receive the embrace of Jesus. So look at Mary and let her look at you, the Pope said, because she is your mother and loves you so much. Let yourself be watched over her to learn to be humble and more faithful in following Christ. Mary is the mother of each and every one of us. But she doesn't force herself. She only invites us to take shelter under the mantle, under her cloak, the cloak of her love for each of us. I remember as a child sometimes getting in trouble or being fearful. What does a child do when a child's fearful or not at peace? A child will run to its mother, his or her mother, and will usually grab on to that mother's waist and hold on tightly. So you and I must do that every day. To draw close to Mary, our mother, and to hold on tightly to her, because with her we stand before Jesus, who is our only hope and our only salvation. She invites us to pray the rosary every single day, to pray for peace in our homes and in our hearts and in our world. A beautiful prayer called Our Lady of the Rosary prayer, puts it this way as it pulls together the sentiments of this Mother's Day and the feast day of Our Lady of Fatima. It goes like this. Dear Mary, our Mother, Lady of the Most Holy Rosary, we received your promise of peace and reconciliation in the world through our prayers of the Rosary. Knowing your Immaculate Heart will be our comfort and the way which will lead us to God, we turn to you in these times of world upheaval, fraught with war and pain. In consecration to your Immaculate Heart and in solidarity with you through our rosaries, we commend suffering humanity to your care. May we, O Mother, in turn, bring the world back to your Holy Son, and by your holy intercession, achieve true and lasting peace. Holy Mary of Fatima, pray for us. Amen. Ave, Ave, Ave.